In this week's episode of One Piece, Fujitora has big plans to crush Luffy, the Straw Hat Pirates, and all of their friends with a massive ball of rubble and trash that will bring to mind memories of the trash meteor from Futurama. Not to mention, it looks like Luffy has a lot of allies who want to join the Straw Hat Pirates. So, if you wanted more in the battle between Luffy and Fujitora, guess what? You're not gonna get it, and that's a big shame. I was kind of hoping they would add a little bit more to this mock battle. I mean, obviously Luffy wasn't going all out against Fujitora. Still, I would have liked to see a little bit more from their fight, but you can't always get what you want. What you do get in this week's episode is a really great ominous scene of Fujitora lifting its giant ball of pure destruction and getting ready to just toss all of it on the legions of ships and pirates which are getting ready to escape from Dressrosa. While all of this is going on at the same time, you have thousands of Dressrosa citizens who are running towards the end of the port trying to catch up with Straw Hat Luffy because he kidnapped Rebecca. In reality, they're actually trying to help out the crew. They say that they're after Luffy, but they're not really saying it with any conviction. Basically, they're being instructed to help him out, and Fujitora, well, he's okay with this. This means he doesn't have to take them out, and you can see that little by little, he's starting to gain a lot of respect for Luffy, even wishing that he could have his eyesight back just so that he could see him, and all of the amazing glory that Luffy is. At the very end of the episode, one of the most surprising elements finally begins in the story where all of the fighters from Kurita Coliseum and all the allies that Luffy made in Dressrosa are getting ready to start this big alliance with these big 7 pirates and their groups who want to be a part of the Straw Hat Pirate. They want to be an umbrella under that flag. And that means we're going to get to see a lot of cool characters return, such as Bartolomeo, Cavendish, Suleiman, not to mention Harudin, the Massive Giant, Orlumbus, the Adventurer, Ideo, the guy who can make shit explode with his fists, Sai, who is now Donsai, I really liked the detail there, the Tontada Tribe. Yes! We are going to be getting so many people joining the Straw Hat crew. Over 5,600 members. Is Luffy going to take them on? Well, to be continued screen. We're going to figure out in the next episode. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't the perfect episode. Mostly because a lot of it was just watching a lot of rubble floating in the sky for like over 8 minutes. Just waiting for Fujitora to drop this shit on these freaking pirate ships. It never happened. The citizens of Dressrosa came back to invade our lives with all of their annoyingness. I'm sorry, I'm just so over the citizens of Dressrosa at this point. I'm just sort of like done with this arc, and I'm kind of glad that they're moving to the final bits of it right now. There's certainly going to be a few other plot points that are lingering that they're going to build up, and there are going to be some surprises, and arguably the biggest surprise of this episode is them actually running down this massive plank, and then when they finally arrive at the end, you have all those pirates come together wishing to be under the Straw Hat crew, which is just freaking huge. Luffy has now made so many freaking allies, and the prospect of all of them returning is really great. I mean, really try to put this in perspective. There's gonna be a moment in the series where there's going to be another war, just like the War of the Best, and Luffy is going to be able to call upon all of these people that he's met on his journey. Not just the ones that we see here, but the ones that he's actually run into since the beginning of the series, and it's arguably going to lead up to one of the biggest conflicts in the entire One Piece world. Not to mention, all the emperors are going to be pissed off now. Now that Luffy and the Straw Hat crew are going to be free to do their own thing, and they're not going to be able to have their supplier Joker on hand, they're all going to want a piece of the Gumma Gumma no ass. I'm almost surprised that Bartolomeo is able to keep his cool during all of this. You'd think he would be having an extreme fangasm, although you know he's totally exploding on the inside. I also still love the fact that Usopp is so fascinated by the Giants and wanting to go to Elbaf. I hope that eventually does become a reality in the series at some point. So yeah, this was a pretty triumphant and fun episode of One Piece, albeit one that had some pretty slow moments. The first half of the episode was dreadfully slow, but honestly, it was ominous and really cool, especially getting to see that giant ball of rubble, which was just absolutely massive and is definitely one of the more destructive, I think, abilities that we've seen from the entire series. Unfortunately, we never really got to see it in action, but if we did, it would almost certainly mean the death for all of these characters. It's almost as if this was all going according to plan for Fujitora. Isn't that strange? What I will say is, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the rest of this arc. There's still a few other things that they got to take care of. Like I said, we got to see Luffy's answer to letting these pirates join the crew. Not to mention, like I said, there will be some surprises as we move into the next arc of the series. So, this was a pretty decent one right here. I mean, not the greatest episode. The pacing and the animation was so-so for the most part. But there are big events going down in this week's episode of One Piece, which definitely make it a must-watch for any One Piece fan. So, I'm going to give this episode right here a 4 out of 5. I'm taking 1 point off for the slowness. Otherwise, big events going down this week. Check it out, One Piece fans. Before you guys leave today, make sure to tell me what you thought about this week's episode of One Piece. Are you excited over the prospect of the Straw Hat Pirates having an even bigger crew of over 5,600 members? Which ones are your favorite, and what do you want to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc in One Piece and beyond? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. If you want to help support Super Kami Guru 9000, you can do that in a number of ways. Please leave a comment on the video, share this video with a friend, or best of all, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out a lot of cool links in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!